Chris again. Chris, follow-up question is, tell me why it did not. I gotta do this one hand. I cut my finger moving a refrigerator stove. I like this so much that I cut it a little bit, and then I cut it again. I cut it twice. So that was. So I'm using one hand to do this. So let's look at this way. Let's look at it this way. I need a pencil. Pencil. Come back to it. Well, here's the pencil here then. Okay. So let's look at this as the rebar. Rebar. Oh, that was nice. So that's the rebar, and let's consider this the column right here, right? The surface mounted column. Hopefully to fix it. Yep. All right, surface mounted column. But it's not just surface mounted, right? It's integral. It's inside. Is text going to bother you? So it's inside that concrete. Now, I don't know, maybe all the way up to there. So it's got nice coverage. So now it can't just pull out because the concrete is blocking from pulling out. So deflection, you load it. Now you can see it might pull on it, strain it right there. But we don't have anybody complaining about their floor walls and everything else complaining. If it pulled on this one, it's not for free. You pull on that, you either burst concrete out, or if this is the wall, let's see if I can get this mouse to move it over. Let's pretend like that's the wall. Or if you pull on that, or you pull on this, and if you pull on this one, the one above it, it's the sausage links, right? Sausage links, as I stated. So you pull on that one. If you pull on that one and it's below it, you're going to pull on this one because that's integral with that one. So you're going to pull on that floor. You're going to pull on that one. So you don't get to pull on one for free, unless it just bursts the concrete out. So it just pulls this concrete out here without causing the column to show any problems at all. That's through deflection like that. I don't see that happening. You know, we don't have indication of that no one's come forward with cracked floors. So we have this now. With that said, I'm trying to see how I can do a guillotine. So with that said, your dead weight wants to do right here at the edge of the wall, wants to do this, drive this down, shear it off like a pair of scissors. But it can't. Because it does have some concrete in it too. I mean, some of it, a concrete interface with the wall a little bit right there. So it does have some concrete interface too, right there. So as if this does try to deflect, I thought I can grab that one. Come on, really? I'll just move it up a little bit. If it does try to put the steel at the bottom instead of the top, I think it is near the bottom a little bit. But let's say it does try to deflect. Let's put it near the top even. If it does try to deflect, it still has this compression. It's got to pull on the column that's back here. Remember, we got columns all through this building. We got a column back here that wants to grade. Now I didn't like my column drawing. So we got a column back here that it has to push on. So it's not that simple as visually just isolating one joint. You can't isolate it. You know what I say. You don't get anything for free. Now these are a bunch of sausage links here, right? Another one, another floor below that. So you just can't pull on this one. Any forces here actually has to pull on both sides to the other column, depending on what the other column is. Now, they scatterbrain some of these columns. You know, they're not directly behind each other. Some of them are offset a bit. So offset adjust a bit. So there's some weird we're twisting action, torque action going on during this failure mode. With that said, well, let's see if I can do that. No, we'll stay here for a second. So you can see that you need to get this to move, so it can't just come down without having to shear this rebar here and here. The mid-span is how you divide this up. This mid-span is how it's considered to be divided up weight-wise. So you figure out the weight of the floor by 1 square foot of concrete weighs approximately 150 pounds. Let's say this mix weighs the same. So you do the math. It's 9 inches, maybe a floor. I don't know. It's random. These floors apparently to a degree. You take the width of the room, and between this column and that column, considering the weird configurations. And so right here, for example, if this was 3 columns, this column here, you would say it's taking, oops. I'm just going to do that. And I'll put a column over here and a column here. And for our purposes, we'll say these 2 columns are equal, all 4 of these columns equally spaced apart. So you would just get this mid-span between here, the mid-span between here, and then mid-span between this one and this one. And this is the area you would calculate weight-wise to say how much is on this steel right here. And you got some interface, but I don't know how much no one's got any interface calculations as far as I know. So, but the friction, the drag of it, let's get rid of that now. Don't save. All right, so here's an article for you guys if you wanted to go down that path. You look under rebar and its shear ability. So each side, depending on how much rebar is in there, it depends on how much shear resistance you have that it can take before it would break down, before it would just break through it. I would theorize that the concrete would fail first, opposed to the rebar. Now, that theory in reality has been proven to be true. It did no concrete, no rebar was sheared because the concrete's not strong enough, guys. It's 4,000, 6,000 psi. It's not going to shear rebar in half like a pair of scissors. The connection is going to fail by the concrete. At the concrete connection, not the concrete side of it will fail, not the rebar side. So as it's in the columns over here, I think we're right around this line, right about here. I don't know. I get my lines mixed up. This line or that line. Or row, however you guys don't want to think about it. I could care less about that detail. But these are spaced pretty good. These are spaced pretty nice and evenly. Here's a span. I guess this is a surface mounted continuous span. So between here and here, you would divide. Well, it would be really zoned really differently based on the rebar connection at that point. So if the rebar was every 12 inches, you'd subdivide that to this section over here just by the rebar connections. But in this case, you would go tributary like this. You would say this is the load bearing area on around there like that one. This column. I'm sorry, if that's the face column, then it would be, so there's air out here, air ball, basketball. Let's see if I can get a better, yeah, this is better. So there's the column here, the face column. So you would go, these columns are pretty much in line, good. And so are these. And I would say so are these, but on this first floor, you saw they shift a little bit. So I would say this column here, this one here, if you want to do the math, you come across here like this, halfway between this one and that one, halfway between this one and that one, and dissect it. And you would know the weight on this column. Here's the kicker to that. Depending on the rebar, how the rebar is placed in here, if it's just like this direction, no, you got issues, but they have rebar going this way too. So it's like 16 number 5s they're claiming. So you determine the weight and see how much deflection that rebar would give, if any at all. I would say if it's like that, it's probably going to give nothing at all. If anything, you'll be out here on the second floor level. Not the first floor level. The first floor level has that funky beam going across, which we don't have a good image of yet. That funky 1'6" step down beam, that beautiful beam. I don't really find it yet. I didn't really find it in images, rather full length. But nevertheless, that 1'6" exists apparently. And remember, they made this deck, so just to recap a little bit: 1110 and 1110. They were different heights before. Now they're all in one height. And the elevation change is that 13.4 right here. And 1110 brings you around the parking garage around here, but inside there you're at 13.4 again in the lobby area. 1 foot step down there. I'm done with this video. This was just about answering Chris's message, a question to me. Chris, you asked and I told. Where are you? Well, I guess we don't get to see Chris's message. Helpful review? Nope. Anyway, so we don't get to see Chris's message. We can look at before I go. We can see whose messages are being held up. Look, see. Let's take a peek. All right, so they don't like Firefox. Firefox, I have no idea. I'm not even reading your comment. I have no idea what they don't like about you. I'm not reading your comment out of the kitty, just posting. John got slammed here. I don't care. I'm not reading it. It's no links in it, so it's your narrative, whatever it is. So I just check mark. I get around to reading them later. I just link. I'll follow, but I'll get around to reading them later when I go over publish, and it says I haven't responded to. Turns out if I give you a love, it means I responded to it, and then I lose your message. And sometimes I make a mistake giving love before I read. So just so you see how that works. And so you may not see a message, and all of a sudden it appears. I'm not reading them all. There's too many of them, so some of them I come back and read, and some of them I read and just give a love to. Like that boom at the outdoor deck, pretty hard, striking those creek columns. I bet those columns suffered shock waves, internal cracks. Yeah, I agree, but we don't have any buckling. And thanks, Firefox. You're right. I think everyone else bailed out on that video. I was waiting for that forever though, because you guys shared it from forever. But I didn't want anybody to copy me like they do. So I said I'm gonna wait for the story to come in that the engineers are all trashing this, saying nothing to see here. And as soon as I got the last one that I wanted, I made the video saying, here's all the data hidden inside this video. For all you forensic engineers, I love a good challenge and I love a good tease. So, the challenge is, let's compare your skill set to my skill set. Who can find the data and process it? And who throws out data? Well, obviously Papa Smurf, he's on a mission to throw out data. His 9/11 commission, as people said, I wonder how much he threw out. His other thing, how much does he throw out? Because he refused to answer the statement about the witnesses when the news lady asked him about it. He was like, first statement, his reply was instantly no, and then he just blew off, gaslighted the witness statements, which we can't do, right? We just can't gaslight those witness statements. They exist. Phone calls exist. Video, you know what? I'm triggered. Curse, half a curse, curse and half a curse. Okay. So what? It's now being reported the architect on the project has his license suspended. So what? The building lasts 40 years. I don't care if he's got a license suspended. I have a couple licenses. If I don't renew them, they'll suspend my license. It doesn't look like my license is like I forgot to renew it. It says suspended. So I don't know why his license was suspended. I've had my license suspended. I didn't renew that son of a bitch and came up suspended. Missed it by a few days. Man, I had to take all these courses again and everything else to get it renewed. Kicked my butt. I was away on vacation. I should have paid attention to that damn letter. I had it with me too. I tried to get all types of nope. It was like 2 weeks I missed it by. They didn't even have a courtesy on the amount of time on it. I was like, oh man. So the suspension, I don't know. People get the license suspended, sanctioned a lot, in professional fields. So I'm not going to hold that against his suspension against him. You know, once you get suspended, it's like it's a form of punishment, or a form of, it can be a form of punishment, and that's it. You know, 13 years before this project. So, you know, they temporarily take away your license. Doctors lose them, nurses lose them, lawyers lose them. It's just, it's, you know, you lose your driver's license. Isn't it suspended? Well, is it? I don't know. It just, yeah. Yeah, because they don't tell you you're driving without a license. They tell you you're driving on a suspended license. Yeah, so if your license expires, they call it suspended, right? They don't say you didn't have a license. So, driver's license, I mean. So there you go. So I don't want to talk about that. It's 40 years. This is a maintenance issue, Kenneth. I think that it's a neglect. And also, if you want to structurally look at it, I would say that, wow, in the future, we might not want to connect car garages. I tell you what, I'll never build another deck of any type that's not freestanding. It will be no ledger system, ever. Okay, on my part. And when I say ever, you hire me to do the job and you tell me it's ledgered, I'm going to ledger it just like you told me. I'm going to do it just that way. I'm going to scream, tell you about this, and then I'm going to get right to work and give you your ledgered system. Take care. Bye.